If your eggs weld themselves to cast iron every morning, your pan isn't broken. You're breaking a rule a nonna followed before the egg ever hit the skillet. Today, 25 cast iron rules an Italian nonna never breaks to keep food from sticking, including the one that lets a fried egg slide clean across the pan, and a number 1 that lifts a skin-on salmon out without it tearing. Let's get into it. Number 25. Before anything else, learn the exact moment the pan is hot enough. Most food sticks for one simple reason: it went into a pan that was still cold in the middle. A nonna never guessed. She let the empty skillet heat slowly for a few minutes, then flicked a few drops of water onto it. If the water just sat there and boiled away lazily, it wasn't ready. But when the droplets pulled themselves into little beads and danced and skittered across the surface like tiny ball bearings, that was the signal. The pan was properly, evenly hot and ready to cook without grabbing your food. That dancing drop of water is the whole foundation of a non-stick start. And the next one is the difference between a pan that works with you and one that fights you. Number 24. Know the difference between real seasoning and a sticky, gummy mess. People assume any dark coating on cast iron must be good seasoning. It isn't. A nonna's pan was smooth, dark, and almost glassy, slick to the touch. If your pan feels tacky, sticky, or gummy under your fingers, that's not seasoning at all. It's oil that was baked on too thick or at too low a heat, and food will cling to it every single time. The fix is to scrub that gummy layer back and rebuild the seasoning properly, thin and hot. A smooth pan releases food, a sticky one grabs it. Run your finger across it when it's cold. A good pan feels like polished stone, a bad one like a strip of old sticky tape. And the next one is the mistake that quietly rusts a skillet from the inside out. Number 23. Never ever let it air dry. Water is cast iron's one true enemy. Leave a skillet wet and it grows rust, and a rusty, pitted surface makes everything stick. A nonna dried hers the very moment she rinsed it, a good towel first, then straight back onto a warm burner for a minute or two, until every last trace of moisture had steamed away and the pan was bone dry. Only then did it get its oil. That 30-second habit is the single biggest thing standing between your pan and rust. And the next one settles the argument every cast iron owner has had at the sink. Number 22. Yes, you can use a little soap. You just can't let it soak. Somewhere along the line, people were told soap destroys cast iron. It doesn't. Modern seasoning is tough, and a little dish soap with a quick wash won't strip a well-seasoned pan. What genuinely wrecks it is leaving it sitting in a sink full of water, or run through the dishwasher, soaking for an hour while the iron drinks in moisture. A quick wash, a fast dry, and a wipe of oil is all it ever needs. The old fear made sense with the raw, barely seasoned pans of a century ago. With a modern, well-seasoned skillet, it's simply out of date. Wash it, don't drown it. And the next one is how people ruin a good pan without ever realizing it. Number 21. Never store food in the pan, and never put it away damp. It's tempting to leave last night's cooking sitting right in the skillet in the fridge, but acidic, salty food left against the bare iron for hours eats into the seasoning and pits the surface, and that pitting is exactly where sticking begins. A nonna always moved leftovers into a dish, then cleaned, dried, and oiled the pan before it went away. The skillet rests clean, dry, and protected, ready to perform tomorrow. And the next one is the little ritual that keeps a pan non-stick for 50 years. Number 20. After every single wash, give it a whisper-thin coat of oil. This is the quiet habit that builds and protects the non-stick surface over years. Once the clean pan was completely dry, Nonna put a few drops of oil on a cloth and rubbed it all over the cooking surface, and then, crucially, wiped almost all of it straight back off, so only the faintest sheen was left behind. A thick, greasy coat turns sticky and rancid and actually makes food cling. A barely there film seasons the pan a little more with every use and keeps it slick. Thin is everything here. Vegetable, grapeseed, or flaxseed oil all work fine. What matters is never which oil you choose, but how little of it you leave behind. And the next one is for anyone starting out with a brand new or stripped back pan. Number 19. Don't expect a new or stripped pan to perform yet. You have to earn it first. A raw, freshly stripped or cheap new cast iron pan has almost no seasoning on it, and food will stick no matter what you do in those early days. Nonna built it up on purpose. She cooked fatty, forgiving things in it to start. Bacon, sausages, fried potatoes, anything greasy, over and over, each cook laying down another microscopic layer of seasoning. Within a couple of weeks of real use, that dull, raw pan turned slick and black. Patience builds the pan. The delicate food comes later. That pre-seasoned label from the factory is only a starting point. The pan you'll come to love is the one you cook into being yourself. And the next one is where the real cooking rules begin, with heat. Number 18. Always preheat the empty pan slowly before a single drop of fat goes in. Cast iron is slow to heat and full of cold spots when it first hits the flame, and food dropped onto a cold spot welds itself down on contact. Nonna set the empty skillet over medium heat and gave it 2 or 3 full minutes to come up to an even temperature all the way across before she added anything at all. Rushing this one step causes more sticking than almost anything else in the kitchen. Slow, even, patient heat first, then the fat. And the next one is the exact rule you clicked this video to see. Number 17. Fry an egg that slides clean across the pan like glass. This is the one on the thumbnail, and it's every rule so far coming together in a single moment. With the empty pan properly preheated to that dancing water point, Nonna added a good knob of butter or a spoonful of oil and let it get fully hot and shimmering, not warm, hot. Then she cracked the egg straight in, and here is the part almost everyone gets wrong. She did not touch it. No poking, no nudging, no sliding a spatula underneath to peek. She let it cook completely undisturbed while the underside set and released itself. A few seconds later, she tilted the pan, and the whole egg slid freely across the surface, edges crisp, nothing left stuck behind. That is not luck, and it is not Teflon. Cast iron will never be non-stick straight from the box. It's a hot, well-seasoned pan, and the discipline to leave the egg alone. And the next one is the fat rule that makes or breaks every single one of these. Number 16. Use enough fat, and let the fat get hot before the food goes in. 2 mistakes stick more food than any others. Too little fat, and food dropped into fat that's still cold. Nonna used a generous film of oil or butter. Cast iron drinks a little in, so a dry, bare smear is never enough. And she always waited until that fat shimmered and slid easily around the pan before the food went anywhere near it. Food hitting hot fat sears and releases. Food hitting cold fat soaks it up and glues itself down. And here's the thing, Nonna kept one skillet cooking perfectly for 50 years on rules exactly like these, and every one of them, along with the recipes she cooked in that very pan, is written down in Nonna's Handbook. The link is in the description below. Now, number 15, the heat mistake that burns and sticks at the very same time. Number 15, cook on medium heat. not on full blast. People hear that cast iron holds heat beautifully and immediately crank it to maximum, and then everything scorches and cements onto the surface. Nonna understood that cast iron's real gift is even, steady, retained heat, not raw power. She kept the flame at a patient medium, gave the pan time to get there, and let its stored heat do the work for her. Blast it on high, and the outside of the food burns and welds to the iron before it ever gets the chance to release. Steady medium heat cooks evenly and lets food lift away clean. And the next one is the fridge cold mistake nearly everyone makes. Number 14. Never drop fridge cold food straight into the pan. A cold steak or a piece of fish taken right from the fridge and slapped into a hot skillet does two bad things at once. It drags the pan's temperature straight down into the sticking zone, and its cold, damp surface bonds instantly to the iron. Nonna let meat and fish sit out for a little while to take the chill off, and patted them properly dry before they ever met the pan. Room temperature, dry food sears and releases. Cold, wet food sticks and steams. And the next one is the golden rule for cooking anything delicate. Number 13. If it's stuck, it isn't ready. Let the food release itself. This is the rule that changes everything, and the single hardest one to actually obey. When you lay food into a hot cast iron pan, it grips the surface at first, and every instinct screams at you to force it, to shove a spatula underneath and tear it free. Nonna waited. She knew that properly seared food lets go of the pan entirely on its own once a crust has formed underneath. If it resists you, it simply isn't ready yet. Give it another 20 or 30 seconds and it releases cleanly, with no tearing and nothing left behind. The pan tells you when it's time. You just have to trust it. Set a timer if you must, and put the spatula down. Impatience is behind more sticking than any pan ever was. And the next one is for the potatoes that always seem to weld themselves on. Number 12. For potatoes that crisp instead of stick, dry them and then leave them alone. Potatoes are notorious for gluing themselves to cast iron, and it's almost always because they went in wet and then got fussed over. Nonna patted them bone dry first to get rid of the surface starch and water, spread them out in a single layer in plenty of hot fat, and then left them completely alone to form a deep golden crust before turning. Crowd them or stir them too soon, and they steam, stick, and fall to pieces. Dry, well-spaced, and patient. That's crisp potatoes that lift away clean. And the next one crisps chicken skin without leaving half of it in the pan. Number 11. For crisp, unbroken chicken skin, lay it down and don't move it. Skin-on chicken stuck to the pan, leaving all the crispy skin behind when you turn it, is a heartbreak Nonna simply never suffered. She placed the chicken skin side down into the preheated pan and then left it entirely alone. As the fat under the skin slowly renders out and the skin crisps, it naturally releases from the surface, and only then would she move it. Try to lift it too early, and it tears and sticks. Wait for it, and it comes away golden, crackling, and whole. And the next one is about melting cheese without a welded-on disaster. Number 10. Anything cheesy or melty needs a hot, well-greased pan, or it cements straight on. Cheese toasties, frittatas, anything with melting cheese that touches the bare iron will bond to it ferociously if the pan is cool or dry. Nonna made sure the pan was properly hot and carried a good layer of fat first, so a seal formed instantly between the food and the surface instead of the cheese fusing directly onto the raw iron. Hot pan, enough fat, and don't move it until it has set. That's the whole difference between a clean release and scraping cheese off with a chisel. And the next one quietly ruins a young, under-seasoned pan. Number 9. Go easy on acidic and tomato sauces in a young pan. Cooking a long-simmered tomato sauce, or anything sharp with wine, lemon, or vinegar, in a pan that isn't well seasoned, yet strips that fragile seasoning right off. And then food starts sticking, and the sauce takes on a metallic, tinny taste. A nonna cooked her long acidic sauces in a pan that was old and rock-solidly seasoned, or in a separate pot entirely while a newer pan was still building up its layers. Once a pan is deeply seasoned, a quick acidic splash is fine. Before that, keep the acid well away. And the next one is the crowding mistake that steams everything. Number 8. Never crowd the pan. Piling too much food into the skillet at once is one of the surest ways to make every bit of it stick. When the pan is crammed full, the moisture coming off the food can't escape. The temperature crashes, and instead of searing, everything just steams in its own liquid and glues itself to the surface. A nonna cooked in batches, always leaving space around each piece so the heat stayed high and every surface could sear and release. A little breathing room is the whole difference between a golden crust and a sticky, steamed, disappointing mess. And the next one is a 2-second habit that stops sticking before it can even start. Number 7. Pat food dry and salt the food, never the cold, bare pan. Surface water is the enemy of a clean release. A wet piece of fish or meat hits the hot iron and bonds and steams instead of searing. A nonna patted everything dry with a cloth before it ever went in. And she always seasoned the food itself, never a cold, empty pan. Salt scattered onto bare iron and left sitting draws out moisture and can pit the surface into little sticky craters. Dry food, seasoned food, straight into hot fat. And the next one is where cleaning it the right way begins. Number 6. Clean it while it's still warm, not stone cold and hardened. Let a cast iron pan go completely cold, with food stuck on, and you'll be scrubbing so hard that you take the seasoning off along with the mess. A nonna cleaned hers while it was still warm from the cooking. When stuck on bits, lift away with barely any effort at all, a little hot water and a brush, and it was done in seconds. Warm and easy beats cold and violent every time, and your seasoning survives the wash. And the next one is about what you actually scrub it with. Number 5. Scrub with a brush or chainmail, never with steel wool. Reaching for steel wool or a harsh scouring pad to clean cast iron strips it straight back to raw gray metal and undoes months of patient seasoning in a single wash. A nonna used a stiff brush or a little chainmail scrubber which lifts stuck food off the surface without ever cutting into the seasoning underneath. It cleans just as well and protects everything you've built up. Gentle on the seasoning, tough on the food. And the next one deals with the really stubborn baked-on bits. Number 4. Lift stubborn baked-on bits with water, never with a chisel. When something has truly welded itself onto the surface, scraping at it with metal just gouges the seasoning out with it. A nonna did it the gentle way. She set the still warm pan back on the heat, poured in a little water, and let it simmer for a minute or two. The steam and the hot water loosen the stuck-on bits, so they lift away with a wooden spoon or a brush, without any violence at all. Let the water do the hard work, and the seasoning stays perfectly intact. And the next one is the after-cook ritual that keeps a pan non-stick for good. Number 3. End every single cook with the same 2-minute ritual. Dry on the heat, then a thin film of oil. This is the habit that keeps a pan slick and black for generations. After washing, a nonna set the pan back on the burner until it was completely, steaming dry, never a drop of water left anywhere on it. Then took it off the heat, rubbed the thinnest film of oil over the warm cooking surface, and wiped nearly all of it off again. Dry, oil, wipe. Done in 2 minutes, and it is exactly why her pan cooked better in its 50th year than it did in its first. Skip it, and rust and sticking slowly creep back in. Some nonnas kept the warm, oiled pan sitting out by the stove rather than in a cupboard, so it stayed dry and was always ready to go. And the next one is the truth about how a pan actually becomes non-stick. Number 2, the more you cook in it, the more non-stick it becomes. A cast iron pan isn't something you buy already finished, it's something you build, and the building never truly stops. Every time a nonna cooked in it, especially fatty foods like bacon, sausages, or anything fried, another microscopic layer of oil bonded to the surface, and the pan got a little slicker than the day before. The worst thing you can possibly do is baby it, or only ever boil water in it. Cook in it, often, with fat, and it rewards you by getting better every year instead of worse. Steady use is the real secret. And now, number 1, the ultimate proof that your pan and your technique have truly arrived. Number 1, the ultimate test, skin-on salmon that releases whole and lifts out perfectly crisp. This is the one that proves absolutely everything, and it is far harder than an egg. Delicate fish skin is the very first thing to tear and stick, and getting it to release intact is the real mark of a pan and a cook that have arrived. A nonna preheated the pan properly, added her hot fat, patted the salmon skin bone dry, and laid it in skin side down, pressing it flat for just a moment so it wouldn't curl. Then, the golden rule one last time, she left it completely alone. As the skin crisped and the fat rendered underneath, it released itself from the iron entirely on its own, and when she finally slid the spatula under, the whole fillet lifted out in a single piece, the skin shatteringly crisp and every last bit of it still on the fish, not welded to the pan. Egg, potato, chicken, and now fish. Get these rules right, and there is almost nothing a well-seasoned cast iron pan cannot cook without sticking. Serve it skin side up, and it stays shatteringly crisp right to the last bite. The quiet proof, there on the plate, that you have finally understood your pan. That is the pan a nonna trusted for 50 years, and now you know exactly how she did it. So there they are, 25 cast iron rules an Italian nonna never breaks to keep food from sticking. Notice that not one of them is about buying a special pan or some magic spray. It's all about heat, fat, moisture, and patience. The same handful of simple truths she lived by that turn a plain iron skillet into the most non-stick, best-loved pan in the whole kitchen. Follow these and yours will cook better every single year and long outlive you. A pan cared for like this is something you hand down, not something you throw away. If you want them all gathered in one place, with the recipes a nonna cooked in that very pan, they're in Nonna's Handbook, linked in the description below. And the one thing you must never let touch this pan is vinegar. It strips the seasoning straight off the iron, but there are dozens of things around the house a nonna did swear by vinegar for, and that's the video waiting on your screen right now. Go and watch that one next. Subscribe, and let's keep bringing back the wisdom the world was starting to forget.